Well, Evie has, in the 10 seconds between finishing the last video and starting this one, invaded the playmat. As she does. So, upgrade cards then. Innkeeper's Talent is going on a deck that I don't have on hand. It's a mono green elves deck. It does something on 1 counters anyway, so Innkeeper's Talent does numbers in that. Probably want another copy of that for another deck that I'm slowly but surely tinkering with. So, let's start with the important part of all this. Sheldon Spellbook. Of course, this is a secret lair put together by Sheldon Menery. Hang on. One of the major figures in Commander history. I believe one of the originators of the format. Hold on a second. Evie, come on. There, vicious creature. Look at that right hook. Faster than the eye can see. Whoop. Anyway, enough of this silliness. Let's look at those paws. Don't look at them too close. Okay. Yeah, so Sheldon, one of the major figures in Commander history, very sadly passed away last year, I believe, while working on this secret lair, so it became a memorial one, and the only one recently that Wizards have done print to order rather than print for scalpers. Anyway, I'm not great at everything, but I'm great at one thing: surrounding myself with excellent people, and that tends to take care of the rest. It's impossible to dislike Sheldon, you know? He's just a chill person that really enjoyed a game and wanted to bring it to people. And by God did he ever. So, let's look at the cards on offer in here. The reason a lot of people bought this, I'm guessing, is for this very nice Teferi's Protection. If you're doing it alone, you're doing it wrong. However, let us open this up and take a look at the rest of the cards inside. Straighten out the camera, which is a bit wonky. Look at them feeties. We have the Teferi's Protection, one that a lot of people will be familiar with. Until your next turn, your life total can't change and you gain protection from everything. All permanents you control phase out. Exile Teferi's Protection. Absolute best protection spell in the game. Eladamri's Vineyard. Not something I particularly plan using, but it was one of Sheldon's favourites, basically. I think it's less it's one of his favourites, and more that he and his wife also own a vineyard. And if you look close, there they are. Bene Supremo, which is greater good, but he always preferred the Italian name. And so it's here. Sacrifice a creature. I believe draw a card equal to its power, but I'm not sure. Ink Shield. Prevent all combat damage that were dealt this turn. For each 1 damage rendered this way, create a 2/1 white and black Inkling token with flying. Really good in the right deck, not something I immediately plan on running anywhere. Sheldon the Commander. Now, Ruhan was, if memory serves, Sheldon's favourite deck. He had a brew of it called You Did This to Yourself. There's a list somewhere on Architect. And I believe that one of the really fun things about Commander as a format is that you can understand your friends better by playing their decks. Like the Aurelia deck that I showed off a little while ago was the idea for that came from my friend Maya. So I kind of get more of an image of the way that she likes to play the game. I've tried the absolutely chaotic Zombieland deck built by a friend of the channel, Marcy, which is really fun, really weird. One of those things that feels like it shouldn't work in theory, but in practice is extremely powerful. So my goal for this card is to build, card for card, Sheldon's Ruhan of the Fomori deck. Just for the sake of doing so. Very pretty version of Sol Ring, and the first card in a long time to have a Shakespeare quote on it. Equally pretty command tower. And the bonus card is Keen Duelist. At the Euro keep, you on-target opponent, you should reveal the top card of your library. You usually lose life equal to the mana value of that card, and you should put the card revealed into your hand. I might actually be able to run this in the Abzan deck I'm brewing. So, that then leaves with a few other cards to distribute for upgrades. Cavern of Souls is going in one that I haven't shown off yet. This is going in another one. 3-tree, and this rather nice Plutonian Nightmare, and my 1 copy Silver Diacite are all going somewhere. Overprotect I just keep on hand because it's funny. So, first things first then for upgrades, let's take a look at the one that I've already upgraded, which is Ginny Faye. Get me a second. Let's just move the various card piles out of the way. And this deck you'll be familiar with already. So I've added it in. I just happened to pull both the cards that I wanted to add to it when I had it on me at the store. So if you go on, let's quickly get these in and get a few games in. Haven't drawn into either one yet, but I feel like they do good things in there. Blacksmith's Talent, and there we go. So we have cut Danitha, New Benalia's Lights, just because some point, because well, this was in there before I had Nahiri, who is kind of just better equipment recursion, and this stage I'm tracking down another copy of this weirdly hard to get hold of card because no one opened Aftermath, and we've got Citizen's Crowbar. In their place, we're now running Phineas, Ace Archer, which can buff up my tokens and give me card draw. Very useful. And Blacksmith's Talent. So ATB, it creates a colorless equipment artifact token named Sword, with a creature gets +1/+1 and equip 2. He's an amateur blacksmith, it's not going to be a good weapon. At the beginning of combat on your turn, level it up though, at the beginning of combat on your turn, attach target equipment you control to up to 1 target creature you control. It's another free equip spell basically. So that's already pretty good. Then for another 4 mana, during your turn, equip creatures you control have double strike and haste. Which is nuts in this deck. That already changes some of the math in terms of what creatures I want to use. Because everything already has haste. I can go a dog instead of cats, and if I have double strike, that means that 3 damage is likely to be enough to deal with any blockers. And 6 damage is going to be kind of devastating, and it's likely going to be more than that. Because even if it's Mandible Kite, that is now a 4/2 haste, double strike, for 1 mana. With this and my commander on board, it can get pretty nuts. And yeah, that's what I like about this. Phineas, again, he makes my tokens bigger. There's value in that. So, next up then. Another nice quick one. And another familiar deck too. Heliod is getting Dawn's Truce in place of one of its other protection pieces. I haven't decided which one just yet. But Gifted Card is too good to pass up. And it's just a solid protection piece. Let's see. So I could cut Everybody Lives. But this does a better job of... You know what? I think it's about time I cut Alhammerit's Archive. Just because the card draw is, if anything, too dangerous in this deck. Every time I've played it, I've almost decked out. And it feels bad to lose that way. So, that is out. Dawn's Truce is in. Alhammer's Archive is a spicy card though. I'll find another home for this in no time at all. Ooh, maybe that same Abzan deck as King Duelist actually. Yeah, sure, let's go with that. So, that's Heliod updated. Now one of the two decks that you haven't actually seen yet. Which I am planning on showing off as soon as they're ready. Actually, one of these I can probably film right after this, because it doesn't... actually, I'm making a couple more bits for it. Start then with King of the Earthbreakers, my Orzhov Commander deck, which I haven't shown off yet, but I will be showing off soon. Teferi's Protection is in here, but there's a proxy. I just need to find that. 2 and a white for, nope, at instant speed. Get fucked, loser. Yeah, so I'm running Teferis in this because it combos weirdly with the commander. So you have a King of the Earthbreaker or another spirit you control begins a target or a spell that phases out. When they phase in, I attack 1/1 spirit token with flying. Which means that anything that phases out my board is suddenly really, really good, as it's protection and token generation. There's still a few more bits that I want to pick up with this before I show anything off, but I will show off. My spirit token, isn't it great? Anyway, that's that joke aside. Next up then is Optimus Prime, a deck that is fully built pretty much, but that I'm waiting on the last couple of proxies for, just because this will, well, you'll see eventually. Let's see, and you probably may, I'll probably pick up on what the deal is with this deck just by skimming through it here. I can afford to get rid of one of the utility lands, I think. Yeah, I've been playing this deck quite a bit recently. It's extremely fun. Yeah, it started out, as you can probably tell from some of the cards in it, like this conversion apparatus, as the MH3 energy precon. I basically combined it with bits and pieces from the Fallout energy precon, and then a lot of miscellaneous bullshit. It's Jeskai artifacts and counters, and I fucking love it. Let's see. Demolition Field is too useful to really cut. Yeah, it'll have to be Evolving Wilds, I think. A card that may or may not have a place in decks. I like it as it's useful for sort of early game mana fixing, and crucially it thins the deck and makes you less likely to hit a land on a turn when you need an answer. But Cavern of Souls is too valuable in this deck, because canny opponents are going to want to counter my robots. Because Optimus Prime himself is otherwise difficult to get rid of. When he dies, he just comes back in vehicle mode, which is kind of nuts, really. It's nuts to the point where I'm thinking of adding an artifact sack outlet, just so that I can sack him on my turn to get the vehicle mode triggers, and bolster something and give it trample, and then flip it back on the same turn. Like, I don't know exactly what I'd use for that. It'd probably have to be something in the mana base even, but, you know, we'll get there. Once the last batch of proxies arrives for this, because, well, all of the humans are being proxied into Transformers characters. Several other cards are being proxied into various Transformers things. Like, let's see if I can find a good example in here. Yeah, this is one of my favourites, actually. Gonti's Etherheart becomes Brainstorm's Time Case. It gets energy. It's an energy counter generator, and crucially, it gives me an extra turn. Because, you know, time travel. Yeah, all versions of G1 are open to stuff from this. Not all of them got stuff from this. So, on to the main event then. Glissa. Now, Glissa is getting quite a few cards, admittedly. And with good reason. Diasight is a pretty good draw spell. Cthulhian Nightmare. Friend of the channel Toru pointed out how useful this can be. In that I can use this to get pretty much any of my creatures back without a great deal of trouble. You know, I'm with a Proliferate already in this deck. I can be mad stuff with the Ancient Counters, and it's better than one of the existing recursion pieces. As a result, 3-3 City, really, really good land for Kindred decks. And as for the Sheldon Spellbook, Command Tower and Sol Ring, it's for the simple reason that this is the first deck that I ever built. It's a deck that got me into Commander, and it's still one of my favourites, so it feels like the logical home for these. So, with that in mind, let's start digging. Point of discussion I can absolutely cut for the new draw piece. And here's the other Cabinet Souls I mentioned earlier in the previous video. Yeah, so I might swap out Unnatural Restoration, but it does have that lovely Jeremy Wilson art. Yeah, Bad at Rebirth. Thought so. Bad at Rebirth is fine, but it's in effect, it's slow, is the problem. And I want to speed it up a little, and so let's get Cthulhian Nightmare in there, as you do. Well, bam. Let's see. Conveniently enough, there's the Sol Ring. So he swapped out for Sheldon Spellbook Sol Ring. I learned a lot of basics, but I tend to like fairly basic heavy decks, even in oh, Rot Farm can fuck off. So Rot Farm is out, 3 trees in. Yeah, Commander Sphere is already the rather pretty promo version from a couple of years back that I traded for with I can't for the life remember his name. Nice guy there. I played against him once in RCQ and then lost a couple of games to him at one of the recent pre-releases. So, Command Tower is out. Command Tower is in. And that is Glissa, fully upgraded. My girl is at full power. Oh yeah, I also at some point got hold of an Ozolith Shattered Spire, which is rather good. So, yes. All told then, that is, well, 5 cuts from here, 5 cards back in, and that for the time being is just about all the upgrades I had planned for Bloomburrow. If I pull any card with a Fountain Port, I definitely have plans for that. That has a really good spot in Mondrak. That is pretty useful in one of my other decks as well. So, I will see you all next time when I take a look at another deck, I think. Might be the Oz of one next, because I'm paydays tomorrow, so I'm probably going to be picking up the bits and pieces to finish tuning that. There's also a Nine Fingers Keen deck that I've just got to make some tune-ups too before I can show off. Anyway, see you next time.
Thank you.